Katie, brilliant to have you on, and thank you for your time this evening. I think I'm really interested and really excited to have you on because I want to really explore you and your and the charity you represent, your work in the community, and how it really is affecting and having an impact on children, parents, people in the community, and also really on a wider scale how your proposition really helps and can help our members in what I would say is the most difficult time I've ever lived under. It's for me it was a novelty at the beginning when everyone just stopped. It was a lovely way of life and peace, but we knew that it was coming, and everything sort of started we all knew the impact it would have on mental health, on physical health, but we didn't realize it would go on for so long. And I think all of our fears have become a reality, so we've got probably a lot more work as a consequence to do this, to really there's going to be some bridges to build across everywhere. So I think my first question would be, how are you and what have you been doing within Ordinary Magic at the moment?
So we're good. Ordinary Magic's good. We're a not-for-profit organisation, so across COVID-19 period have been supported rather a lot by organisations such as the National Lottery, Sport England, and varying different organisations to work with children and their mental health and well-being, and not just children, families, because we recognise how important family mental health is. So we have grown in numbers exponentially. From a staffing point of view, because we haven't been trading as we normally would, our team has shrunk slightly. Which has really meant, we've been working doubly as hard to support the Solihull community in regards to their mental health and well-being.
So has the funding been reduced, has it?
So National Lottery and Sport England and people like that really come out to champion CICs, which is what we are, not-for-profit organisations, and provided funding for a short period of time to help us through the COVID period. Unfortunately, all of those funding streams finish in December, and trading streams do not pick back up until next year, because most of our trading streams are sports clubs and schools, who unfortunately aren't allowing other visitors in at the moment. So we're kind of battling through a huge change for us in regards to our financial situation, but also really enjoying the changes on getting to meet more and more of the Solihull community, and we have lovely people who are volunteering at this time to help us through and to help all of the children, young people and families through in Solihull to support them.
I love the way that you are positive about the situation you're in, but it seems almost criminal that the funding is sort of stopped just as it is needed the most. Where is the funding being redirected?
At present, there is no funding being released by lots of the organisations. They're all trying to, I suppose, work out new funding streams, and we're hoping that some will be released in the near future, but until that point it's a very much watch and wait game for not just us, but for many CICs and not-for-profit organisations and charities out there.
What do you think is a sort of an approximate annual figure that you think that you would need to be back to full tilt, if you like, to support the added workload and to be moving forward in a direction that you're comfortable with, you've got the right resource, and you know that you can provide the best service you can?
It's a scary annual figure, Jim. For us to meet all the need that we have at the moment and to continue with the whole team working at capacity, we're looking at about a downfall of about £50,000 this year, which is scary. but we'll get there.
That's a big figure, but it's not really in the scheme of things, is it? How many sort of children do you, or how much interaction do you have with numbers in terms of people? How much impact do you have on children, families, etc.?
So over the last, we've been trading now for about 20 months. So we're a relatively new CIC. That's why a lot of people are just learning to hear about us. And we have supported in Solihull alone 2,400 beneficiaries. And that's children, young people, families, teachers, sports coaches, with a varying level of support. We support from psychoeducation, just educating children, young people and families about self-awareness, emotional education, feelings, through to therapeutic interventions, and then through to trauma support. So we have 3 tiers. The trauma support, in the last 5 months, we supported 26 children, young people and parents who are classed as clinically significant risk because of their mental health, and they have all made significant improvements, which we're very proud of.
Sorry, carry on. I don't want to cut you off.
No, you carry on, Jim.
Would you say that the 2,400 people that you have interaction will have had a positive or a negative in the main experience with you?
So from our feedback, and we fed back, there's about 1,600 feedback responses we've collected. We have 100% positive feedback rate, something that we're amazingly proud of.
Incredible. This is where I'm thinking, so like 30% of people aren't going to do a tick box. You know, 1 in 3. To be honest, I would say 4 in 5 would normally not want to do a tick box. So to actually get engagement from 66% of people is incredible, and they're all positive. Of course they are. So that 50 grand shortfall is 20 quid ahead. So you'd say that 20 quid is worthwhile, isn't it? Really. So that's the shortfall you're at, and then when you bring it down to that sort of figure, you know, we need to be able to facilitate that within the community. So we must be looking at those other streams of funding, but through business, through local enterprise, as much as waiting for it to trickle down and be filtered out through bureaucracy and things like that. We've really got to try and see how we can trade resource and support so that you guys can do the work that's really, really needed. I can imagine you can't tell me specific information, but what sort of things have been happening that really do keep you awake at times?
You know, we've worked with a lot of children who have been bereaved due to COVID-19. We've worked with children who have lost friends due to domestic violence during COVID-19. We've lost, you know, we've had children that have lost grandparents. We've had lots of children where parents have separated at home, where children have been not willfully but unwillfully like neglected, where parents have been trying to sort their own breakdowns, their own split ups out, and then you know, schoolwork and things like that have just really taken a back foot. Lots of children who have been unseen and unheard, and Jim, you all know, sports clubs like the Solihullans provide a place for children when they're not in school to be seen and heard. And not only have the schools been closed, but all of the facilities outside of the school for these children to actually be seen have not been there. So many children have gone unchecked for months, and we're only just starting now to see the kind of impact of that on mental health. And don't get me wrong, some children it's been amazing for, and like you said at the beginning, it was that slowing down that way of life and getting to know the family more. And the thing that we have to remember all the way through this, and I read a lovely quote which I think sums it up: we're all in the same storm, but we're not in the same boat. And that's really powerful, and that's exactly what we're seeing. So many people in so many different boats, Some people are losing their houses. You know, it's just nobody's in the same situation, but everybody is getting to a point where either financially or from a mental health point, this virus is having an impact.
Yeah, I mean, from my point of view, the figures that we talk about in terms of, you know, suicide, the effects of the effects of the lockdown, you know, far away as anything that we've gone through. And you know, from my point of view, this whole pandemic, this rule by fear thing is just been horrendous. But positives that I can sort of see, you mentioned family mental health. Now, I've never really heard it being categorized as family mental health. Now, when I think of mental health, and people talk about mental illness, which feels like you're very much on your own. It's like you have got a mental illness, so it's like, okay, I've got a rash or anything, you know, it's like, but you very much, it's like you've got to deal with that because you've got that and you've got to diagnose. But when you talk about mental wealth and mental health, it looks like it's more of a journey, and to really, you know, to learn more, to feel better. When you talk about family mental health, it feels much more already as a bit of a unity, sort of. It feels more like we're in this together. Now, I do feel that this lockdown was a complete leveler for people. You know, I think everyone who's gone through lots of different journeys, suddenly we're all in the same boat. We can all moan about the same thing and blame that thing whilst we figure our stuff out, you know. So how do you look at family mental health, and do you support that as an entirety?
I think when we're thinking about family mental health, and I always say it's good to reflect as a parent. I'm a parent, Jim, I know you're a parent. If you have a head, say you have an adult with a head that is full of stuff, you know, I'm only getting 80% of my wage. Actually, I was already kind of cutting the crust. I don't know if I've got a job to go back to. I've got to sort of kids' school work out because they've been off again. How I'm going to tell my work that we've just been told they've got a shield. When you've got a head that is so full, and then a little person's head comes in, and then their head wants to meet with your head, you haven't got room to take that on. And so what you find is a lot of the kind of tension within a family household is that everybody is saturated, and it's about working with the family as a whole to say this is where mum's head's at, and trying to empty some of that. This is where dad's head's at, and trying to empty some of that, and then looking at where the child's head's at and where their anxieties are at, because each of us have different priorities, and something that I might find insignificant, my daughter may find very significant. And so it's about a meeting of the minds. When you're in a room, there's not just say 2, 3, 4, 5 bodies, there's 2, 3, 4, 5 minds, and all of their minds are somewhere. And if you think about that in a room, and you can draw that how powerful, because minds are everywhere, you know, that room becomes suddenly much, much larger. And it's about almost drawing a picture of what's going on in everybody's head so that everybody understands it. But that's how we look at supporting family mental health.
And in terms of that, I suppose then it's about your strategy to try and extract information in a sort of sympathetic, or in a way that is you know, very cohesive and you know, with confidence and trust in you guys and things like that. So that is an absolute skill in itself. But I suppose it's the time. It's actually spending the time to actually focus on it is going to be productive. So I suppose it's really interesting because I can absolutely relate to having a family and having me and the pressures, my wife under pressures, my girls under their own pressures. And you're absolutely dead right. We're all, you know, our minds are all ticking about different things. They might be worried about the colour of their next pencil case. I might be thinking about paying the bills, you know, and the meeting of minds is probably quite quite crucial. I think the only time you can do that is with time, isn't it? And time, and be in the moment and be present, so you can sort of bounce off each other with the right sort of energies of being like not thinking about the future, not thinking about the past, and being present. So I think with this lockdown, people have realized how much time they have to themselves, how much time they spend in work, how much time they spend at sports clubs and things like that. So let me just think how I can phrase this. In terms of the Silhillians membership, there's going to be a lot of families in lots of different scenarios, many of that you've mentioned, and others that we wouldn't even consider. Without sport, and certainly physical activity, which I believe is one of the most important things to our health. How do you, how do you feel that the landscape is going to look at the Sills in the coming months?
I think getting children and young people back to sports is crucial. I think we need to get children and young people back to Sills, because once they're there, you guys know them best, and they feel, the Silhillians is a family, and that's where children need to be. That's where families need to be, because it's that social connection where you can decompress and you can just let go and be present and with people. But also, obviously, knowing that lots of people now have lots of things going on that maybe weren't there before, such as the fear of losing a job, losing houses, concern about being vulnerable, because, lots of people have lots of, different worries about COVID in regards to if they're vulnerable, somebody else is vulnerable. So there's going to be all of these new concerns that now come on, that were never there before, and never something that you would really think of before. I mean, whoever thought about touching door handles before as much as we do nowadays, or touching the traffic lights, and the landscape's changed, and with change comes worry. And what we...
Guys, I was just going to say, my wife said that she can hear us when she teaches, and she says she can hear a sneeze, and she'll look up, and before you know, like, they're already at the sink washing their hands, and so they're already completely robotically tuned into this. So I probably worry that there's going to be a lot of OCD and washing in the hands and things like that for years to come. I don't know what they have learned over the last few months, but I don't think it's all been positive. So in terms of the rugby league club is going to give people a different, as you say, a different environment for people to interact other than school. I know my daughters love the physical activity, and you're right, it's away from the school environment in a different environment. How are you proposing to support or open up support, or how can people benefit from the partnership with the Sills?
So from a mental health point of view, Ordinary Magic will support all and every family that attends the Sills. All they need to do is ask, and they can ask via our website. Our support is free. We don't charge for any support that we provide to children and young people that is therapeutic. Sometimes if we've got sessions on, for example, there might be a small cost to those, but never for therapeutic support. And really, we're there to support not only with education in mental health, but also mental health in sport as well, which is crucial for your young people. So we do lots of educational classes. I know one of which we're planning to hold very soon on the importance of mental and physical health in sports. And again, for parents, we offer family support. There is always somebody at the end of the phone if you want to pick up and ask any questions about your child or young person. And obviously there's also therapy. Our therapy is provided by BACP and UKCP registered professionals, psychotherapists, and we also have a HCPC registered doctor who works with and behalf of us, who specialises in child and adolescents mental health. So really there's a whole wealth of support that's open to any member of the Silhillians, young or old. And really we're there, just pick up the phone and ask us any questions.
It's an incredible proposition that you offer, and I think it's very easy to, well, it's obvious to establish that communication is the most important thing from this. It's putting things onto the table, realise we are all in the same choppy seas, as you say, and we have our own boats. This is really crucial to us really speeding out of this whole pandemic. It is communication. It is that feeling of unity. We've all got cuts and scars over the last 12 months, but we all are, on it. We are looking forward to, getting back to competitive rugby, getting back to socialising with people, getting back to hugging, touching, and just interacting with lots of different positive energies, which you'll mostly find within the environments that you find your hobbies and your interests. So I think we can really turn it into a very exciting moment. I think it's going to be incredible when things do open and we do have our sort of freedoms back, which it's going to be quite a euphoric moment for us all to really get back into things. I think we can harness that. So I think sometimes I think that when you're having a look at specific support for mental health or physical health, actually, if you just look at it as another string to our bow, if we all move in the same direction, it doesn't need to be a thing, really, does it? It can all just be part of our education, part of our growth to the summit, really.
Oh, well, that's it. We're not without physical health without mental health, and we can't have mental health without physical health. It's as simple as that. When we speak about well-being, it is the joining of mental and physical health. That is what well-being is. So you're totally right. We kind of embrace now the fact that Silhillians will be open very soon and the kids can get back to it, but also that they're not alone with their mental health and that they can speak to anybody at the Silhillians, which we've had many a chat about, Jim, and ask for support, or they can come directly to us, any which way, any questions, any support. That's exactly why we were set up for. That's our passion and that's what we're here for. So families can just come along and get whatever they need from us.
It's incredible, Katie. It's brilliant. I think, what would you say, have you got any sort of specific tips for improving families' mental health, i.e. would you recommend family yoga on a Saturday morning, or other things that people are putting in place that really do unite themselves even during lockdown?
I mean, everybody's been so creative during lockdown. It's been amazing. I mean, whoever thought we'd be on, live video streams? And I've never even done half of these things before lockdown. Linking up with family, but being inside the house, but using the technology, if we have it, to link up with family, have a family quiz night all together and invite Nan and Grandad along in the safeness of their own homes and do that.
It's great. Get your Nan onto a quiz session. You don't have to give her a kiss at the end of the night either, do you?
That's me.
I think there's definitely some real benefits for people at arm's distance and things like that. So, we are looking to do some regular quiz nights at the Sills, and they can be hopefully attended in person, but also we'll have a virtual option as well, because I think on a Sunday evening quiz for families and different teams to get involved, it would be great. And we can look at the fact that with technology we can increase the audience, we can increase the engagement, sort of thing. It doesn't have to be you wouldn't have to be face to face all the time to get it, but you've got to really work on what has worked for us. And what will work in the future. For me, I found a real at the time of lockdown, for me it was the spring and I loved it. The flowers were growing, started to make the garden look nice. I'm absolutely blessed that I have a garden. I know there's a lot of people in some horrendous situations at the moment, but if I look at the positives from my point of view, I really enjoyed being in the garden. I enjoyed doing projects. I enjoyed having that time of switch off and things like that. Now I'm not your most disciplined at times, so I should I do need to work on how I can make sure that does fit in, and make sure I have that time, again, because I loved it, and I want to do more of it. What did you really, what are some of the positives that you feel like you've got from lockdown on a personal level?
I think again, getting back in touch with nature. I don't know if you've seen my impressive vegetable patch, but I rocked the vegetable patch. Walking every day, saying to myself, I'm going to give myself an hour, and I'm going to walk with no distractions, on my own, generally in the dark. I know I'm obviously safety here, people, as well. So, but generally in the dark, where I could look at the stars whilst I was walking, there was nothing better for me than that.
That's incredible. That is incredible. I would love to be walking past you with my dog in the evening whilst you're walking up at the stars. You go, evening. That's perfect. I'll walk off into the darkness, and you'll carry on looking at the stars, and then you'll and you're like, you know.
Don't you think as well? I think lockdown for creativity. I mean, everybody's thought so much outside of the box. We've created corporate packages. We've created loads of new materials for children. We've been using posts to reach children, Zoom calls. We've done comedy events online for kids, which has just been, we would have never thought of that before. But
why do you not think you would have thought about that before?
Because generally, and especially in a therapy setting, you generally, from us, it's you connect with the person in a room. And it's we always saw the computer as a barrier to a connection, because to truly be able to see somebody and feel comfortable with them. But I think that was an assumption.
What I'm getting at from a creative side, you've always got these ideas, yeah. And what do you think has been the sort of catalyst for you to? I mean, I think the fact that we've had time allows you to sort of really consider things. So I think that the lesson from this is really to make sure that we do zoom out of what we're doing and think about it in a creative way. The people that have been at home, the entrepreneurs, all of these ideas that people have gathered and are starting to really implement is going to be one of the biggest positive success stories as we move out of it. We're going to see innovation, we're going to see new businesses. There's going to be loads of new businesses, loads of small businesses that we can support locally, because people have been given time to think, right, what is important? How can I work through my journey of life to make sure I can incorporate all of this? The bit for me is I look at my Japanese ikigai, which is my balance of what I get paid to do, what I love doing, what's good for the world, and what I'm good at. And I feel like I am moving forward, not just with business, but within this community, working and seeing that fulfillment come in, which is far more rewarding from that sort of side as the business is. The business creates more stresses and pressures and other different bits and pieces. But I am trying to get that balance of doing what I'm good at, what I get paid to do, and what's good, all in its entirety. And I feel like, I mean, I've had a bit of a head start because I started on this journey 3 or 4 years ago, and it's taken a heck of a lot of energy, and it's caused quite a lot of destruction. But I feel like I was a little bit like I'd already made my decision of what was important. So this lockdown didn't really sort of come to me as an epiphany of what I'm going to do. I was already there. So I think there's a lot of people now that have gone, right, and with that time, everyone's caught me up because we're all suddenly at this point where we're ready to come out of lockdown with a plan. And there's going to be people that will fail, and there's going to be people that succeed. But the important thing is that we are together and we're sharing in those successes, and we're gathering people up. And just within rugby, bringing people up on your side, we're all in it together. We all work together to make it a success. I think it's going to be really important that we communicate and have that forum. Katie, the important thing for me is that we make sure we do encourage people to communicate with us, to communicate with the club, and just throw things at us, throw ideas. I think it's going to be a real luxury when we have the ability to put on some events and to really, isn't it? It's going to be so exciting.
It will be. It will totally. I think you know, just getting back to that. Well, there's something quite amazing about just getting back to being together in a place. I'm very excited about it. We have really enjoyed the technology. For some of our children, that technology still has been a barrier. So to be able to get back to working in rooms with those children who have been disadvantaged because of technology, you know, that really excites us too. So definitely events. We're putting on a Wellbeing in the Woods event for kids, which we can't wait for. It's over Christmas. It's sold out, which is amazing. But it's with the Warwickshire Wildlife Trust, and it's about reconnecting and being present.
Honestly, Katie, I'm sold. Yeah, but I have 2 daughters. I have 2 daughters. You're telling me you're sold out? If the worst thing comes to the worst and 2 places become available, I don't know, someone's had positive COVID and they've got to be isolated or something like that. Do let me know.
We are actually looking at putting another day on because we've got a waiting list of about 13 kids at the moment. So we're definitely going to do that. We're quite lucky in the fact that everybody that we have started working with, we're a family as well, the same as Silhillians are a family. We're a family, and very much once you start working with us or talking, or we start supporting you, there's no start, we're going to start on this day and we're going to end on this day. It is, you're a part of us, and if you ever need us, we're there. There's no, you know, big pieces of paperwork you've got to fill in for a referral. It's just let's have a chat over a coffee, see how we can help you, and we'll keep you in the loop. And these are the things that we can support you with. And if you need this, just ask, and it's there. So it's a very fluid service, and so
I think that, as Windows sort of said to me, it's that family environment. So with Lee coming in, bringing you guys on board as a partner, and it really does truly value you guys and your input, and the dynamic that does offer us, it just gives us a little bit more. It gives us a lot more, you know, in terms of what we can offer our membership, not just on the pitch, off the pitch, and away from the club completely. I think that this is the feeling of the community. We've sort of said from the beginning, we want to unite the community through rugby. The feeling of that unity is on a number of levels. That feeling that everyone's contributing, people are having a positive impact, people are getting lots of different things from that unity and from that family. It's so rewarding.